Hello, my name is Dale DuFay. I'm going to do the narration on this video for Mary Hall. As many of you know, she monitors the I.S.S. live feed. And let me just explain before we start this video what we're looking at. This is cameras facing the Earth. This is a solar panel on the space station. This is part of the space station that's always in view of the camera. But this solar panel moves in conjunction with the sun, so it can catch the sun's rays. And if you look up here on the Google Earth portion of this, you can see the path of the orbit. And right now it's in the night side of the Earth, approaching the terminator into daylight in the North Pacific, just south of the Aleutian Islands. And this camera's pointing at the Earth. It's on the dark side. The satellite, the space station, is high enough above the horizon to catch the sun before the Earth does. This space station is 265 miles from the surface of the Earth, going in excess of 16,000 miles an hour with the rotation of the Earth. The orbit of the space station is from west to east, and it's kind of loopy simply to compensate for the curvature of the Earth. And also it does veer north from northwest to southeast in its orbit as well, and then works its way back up. It kind of goes up and down. But a lot of that is the curvature of the Earth, because for the most part the orbit is very relative. So we're looking at the Earth here again, and the camera view, picture this is pointing at a very small section of the Earth, basically a postage stamp. It's at 260 miles across and 60 miles up and down. So that's literally a very small section of the Earth it's recording as it's going with the rotation at 16,500 miles per hour at 265 miles above the Earth. So now that we know this actual video is going to capture an object going from left to right. Now, it's important to realize, because of the orbit, if there's anything stationary on the Earth, like the clouds and things like that, and lights and cities and whatnot, are all going to appear to come from the right to the left. So if anything's going, from left to right, then there's obviously something that's, of importance. Let's go ahead and play this. And you'll notice here, this is like a 6-minute video. And the solar panel here actually starts moving away out of sight as the satellite approaches the terminator, going into daytime. And again, if this was totally black and you wouldn't be able to see any of this or this part of the station, and there would be a bunch of specks all over the screen. But it's approaching the terminator, so things will appear. And that's usually when she spots unidentified objects. Now, it's not every time, because the space station orbits the Earth every 90 minutes. You're not going to see, and it's just a postage stamp, basically, size-wise. So it's fortunate to be able to catch. There it was, flashed right there. It starts right there. And you can see it flashing every once in a while. It's more visible once the satellite and camera hits the terminator into daytime. So again, keep in mind, it started over here, way over off the screen, and by the end of the video, it's way over here. So it proves that it's going in excess of this, 16,500 miles an hour. If you do the math, you can figure it out. It's around it's going in excess of 18,000 miles an hour. And then once it's visible, I'll zoom in, and we could actually see more objects around it, several objects around it. So these things are orbiting the Earth at a lower altitude. There's no way it could be another satellite. See, there it is there. There's no way it could be another satellite, because it's too far away. That most satellites are above the space station. There are some that are in a lower orbit, but these are not it. They're too close. You can actually see, once it reaches the daylight past the terminator, that you could see this object going underneath the clouds. See, there it is here. See, we're only a couple minutes into the video. It's already moved a couple inches. It starts getting more visible. Of course, this is my mouse. We use it for pointing these things out. Now, see, you can see where it's approaching the Terminator, and that's when you can see these things, because once it's fully in the daylight side of the Earth, you can't see anything. And there's no way that this is an airplane either, because the airplanes are, even the largest aircraft on planet Earth is too small. See, it's here right now. See that? Are too small to be seen. Even their lights. This thing is over a mile wide. That's why we're able to see it. And it's going faster than the space station. And it's much lower. So if you start deducting things that it could possibly be, you remove the things that are impossible, and whatever's left, regardless of how improbable it is, it must be. See, there it is. It's flashing. I thought these lights initially was reflecting from the sun, but this thing seems to be generating its own light. And I'm going to keep this video going as it goes through the Terminator, and you can see it. But once we do that, I want to zoom in, and you can see the other vehicles around it, where whatever these things are, they're going supersonic speed, above probably, and they're not even making a sonic boom. Plus you wouldn't be able to see them if you were standing on Earth or in the ocean here on a boat or something, looking up. You wouldn't be able to see it. But here we're coming into the Terminator. These are clouds, and like everything stationary on Earth, it's going to appear to be going from right to left. And see, there it is. It's going. Keep the mouse still, and you can see it going beyond or faster than the camera, and that's on the space station. See how it's actually going faster than the space station. And it's right there now. You can see it dipping under the clouds there, and it's going to appear. Start flashing some more. You can see it. I'll zoom in. It's going really fast. It's hard to keep an eye on it. See it there? And there's actually, looks like there's two there. But you can clearly see it as it's moving along faster than the space station, much lower. There's no way that could be a satellite. There's no way that can be an airplane. There's no way that can be a boat. So what is it? It's an unidentified flying object going in excess of 18,000 miles an hour. Only just right, we'll just say it's 30,000 feet. There it is there now. See it? That thing is incredibly fast. There's no way we'd be able to see it. It's going too fast. It would zip over your head and before you can blink. And they don't make any sound either. Again, they're not, breaking the sound barrier. But again, if they have inertia technology where they can make these maneuvers and speeds without affecting anything inside, then they have the ability to not break the sound barrier or make a noise. They are breaking it, the sound barrier, of course. They're probably going like Mach 7 or 8, Mach 1 being the speed of sound. So we're talking thousands of miles an hour here. These are not conventional aircraft, but they are definitely flying, and they are, up there. I mean, it's real obvious. She doesn't catch them every time. She monitors every orbit, and you're not going to see these things in every orbit, again, because it's such a small area on the Earth that it's covering, that there's fortunate to even get them. But she does find them. Let's zoom in on this one now. See that? See the other objects around it? All over around it. They are all over. Those are not artifacts from the camera either, because it's going faster than the camera. Because if I stay still here, it's going to wind up on the right side of the screen. So I have to actually pan it over so there's no way it's from the camera. There's no way this is conventional aircraft. There's no way that this is a satellite. It's too low. See it go under the clouds there? So it's clearly, too low to be a satellite, too fast to be conventional aircraft. It's just, so what are they? And again, they're all over. You can see them. If you look at, there's the one we're following right there. I'm gonna have to pan the screen over so we can see it. See, there it is. It's just remarkable, and as you can see, some all over the place. I'll zoom in again. Let me take it back in this point where it's really visible, and let it appear, and then we'll zoom in on it, and you can see the other ones. See the ones up here, two right there. This one's going the fastest, but see, these are pretty relative with the speed of the space station. So, but you could tell they're not from the camera or anything. That dipped under the clouds again. Look at the speed of that thing and the size of it. It's just, it has to be over a mile wide. Otherwise, we wouldn't see it. We wouldn't be able to see it. Because everything on the Earth, no matter how large they are, you cannot see this. This camera's too far up. But when it captures these things, and also you can't see them on the daylight side. When it's fully daylight, they're very difficult to pick up anything. But usually at the terminator, but whether it's going into nighttime or daytime, it's always the best time to pick up anomalies, which again are difficult just for the fact that it's just a small little patch on the Earth it's showing. Again, this is like 260 miles across if you were to put this on Earth, and 60 miles up and down. So it's a very small little patch on Earth that it's showing. And again, it's just south of the Aleutian Islands. It's approaching the northwest coast of Washington State. But the video doesn't go on that long. It only goes on to right here. You can see the orbit on the top there as it follows down across into the terminator of daytime. But it's just remarkable. What a great catch this is. Look at that thing, how bright it is. We believe it's making its own light. Look at the size of that thing and how fast it's going, and all the other objects around it. Right behind it, look at all these. Incredible. Every time I look at this, I see more and more. It's incredible. Another great capture by Mary Hall. This isn't easy to do. See, there's the two up here, and then our main one right there. That seems to be the one that's going the fastest, because it was actually behind this one here. But now it's ahead of it. And now it's pretty much the only one you see. Again, it's harder. The more sunlight that gets on the surface, the more it's difficult to see. It's like the sun just washes it out. So she catches them mostly on the terminator. So that was another great capture. So, be sure you share this and make a comment, and by all means subscribe to her channel. Now, every once in a while when I do a narration on Mary's videos, I like to ask a Mandela Effect question, and I figured this is a good time to do that. Mary doesn't cover that subject because there's no way to prove anything. It's very difficult. But here you can prove, its proof is right here. So it's enjoyable doing these videos. But the question I have is, the Earth is 24,800 miles in circumference. Do any of you remember the circumference being more? Just leave a comment. Do you remember the Earth being larger? Of course, it's not flat. It's a globe. This satellite proves it. This space station proves it. It circumvents the Earth, and the Earth is only 24,800 miles. The question again is, do any of you remember it being bigger? So with that, I thank you for watching, and we'll talk at you later.